Hello. I do apologise for the slight delay, although it might just be me and you. For some reason I couldn't get onto Zoom, but here I am now. Hello everyone. Just letting everyone in. Hello, hello, hello. Right. Let me just check that everyone's here. Sorry for the slight delay. I thought I was so prepared and then Zoom wouldn't let me in for some reason, but here I am. And thank you for being understanding about last week. It was just last half term, and those of you who do have school-aged children or small children, you probably feel similar. It was fairly intense juggling the juggle over half term. So let's release all the juggle today. And Ben's actually only just vacated, which is he's just been having a meeting up down here. We're going to start standing. We're going to today use our band, but again, as ever, it doesn't matter if you don't have or don't want to use the band, don't worry. You can always use a scarf instead if you want to. And those of you who do have small balls, it's quite nice to have for sort of when we're lying in relaxation position, just to have one underneath your pelvis for a short while, if you would like to. But we're not going to sort of use the ball per se. It's just quite nice to have if you want to add a little here and there to your practice. So let's start standing, taking your band. And do let me know, guys, if there's anything you're working with or dealing with today that you want me to be aware of. So, standing tall, have I cut my head off? And I want you just to hold the band loosely in both hands, so as if you're about to use it, but we're just sort of allowing it to be present in your hands without consciously doing anything with it for now. So just holding your arms shoulder width apart, placing your feet hip width apart, so lining ourselves up as we always do, trying to consciously balance the body. So think about the soles of the feet, layering all 10 toes evenly down into the floor, into the mat, whichever you're standing on, and then lengthening up out of the arch of your foot, thinking about the stability of your pelvis, so where your tailbone is, where your pubic bone is. Maybe have a little feel for where your pelvis feels like it is today. Maybe a little bit of a tuck and a roll a couple of times, just to notice the placement of your lower back and your pelvis. And then think about lengthening up to that space directly above the pelvis, the rib cage. So again, you can either place your hands there without taking the hands off the fan necessarily, just noticing where they are, the bottom ribs, the rib cage, the breastbone, the collarbones, and then the crown of your head lengthening up towards the ceiling. You can even close your eyes for a moment, just as you settle into this length through the body. Begin by taking 3 lovely deep breaths, nice and slowly, just settle into the rhythm of your breath, in through the nose, and sigh through the mouth, in through the nose, and sigh. Last one, just to settle into the body, into the breathing rhythm, and out. And then on your next in-breath, just floating the arms forward and up. So whether or not you're with the band or not, just gently lengthening the arms shoulder width apart and rise them up as high as you can. So as you know, if you know the studio, you know I can't go that high because the ceilings are very low. And then breathing out to float the arms down. So we're not necessarily pulling on the band or feeling any tension, but I want you just to be aware of the movement of each of your arms individually, noticing if one arm feels like it wants to go a bit faster or feels like it's a bit more sticky around the shoulder. So we'll just do 3 more of these, breathing in to rise up, trying not to ping the rib cage forward. See if on the way up you can just ever so slightly soften the rib cage down. And breathe out to roll and fold the arms forward. Last one, breathing in, or make the next one your last one. And breathing out. Good. Now from here, let's just take the band across your thighs. And again, without the band, it's totally fine. And I want you to feel just a little bit of tension on the band, as if you're just sort of placing the arms, or the hands rather, slightly further back behind you. And I want you to breathe out and press the arms back. So we're working against the resistance of your band now, pressing back and breathe in to release. And pressing back and release. And press back. So feel this in the shoulder blade area. So like you're just gently squeezing the shoulder blades as you allow the biceps and the tricep muscles. Feel the backs of the arms there working. Last one, press and release. And then just float the arms up and release it down. Good, let's float the arms up once more. And this time, on the way down, I want you to rise up onto your toes and see if you can, while lifted up, press a little bit into that band. So we're working a little bit more into that balance, trying not to destabilize yourself too much, but have a sense of using that lovely strength and resistance, floating up with the in-breath. And as you breathe out, pressing it down as you rise up, and then just a little gentle push. Let's do two more like that. Breathing in to lift. Breathing out, rising up. Little pressure. Last one. And float the arms down as you rise up, pressing back. And then coming back to center. Just roll the shoulders a couple of times. I'm coming down onto my knees just so that you can see where I am. You're welcome to come down on your knees, or you can stay standing. We're going to take the band a little bit wider. You'll need to just take it as wide as you feel comfortable. So see how your shoulders feel and how what the tension of your band is. Again, you can do it without the band if it feels like it's too much width. So we're going to float the arms up towards the ceiling and then reach all the way back. Work within your range. So if it feels too much to go all the way back, just sort of see if you can soften the open in the armpit area without straining too much. And then float. I'm struggling with that word float today. And release all the way down. And again, lifting up. Notice if you're bobbing the head forward, or you're bending and wriggling in the arms, see if you can allow this to be a soft, open movement of the shoulders. So we're not trying to go into the neck or head at all. Lifting up and release down. Let's do one more. Floating up and reach. And just let the shoulder blades soften there for a moment. So with the band behind you, just gently allow there to be softness in this position. So we're not straining, we're not stretching, we're not sort of straining into the shoulders. And I want you just with your arms here to see if you can orientate the rib cage here. So notice if you're pinging forward, see if you can soften down, connect up through the pubic bone area, drawing up into the lower abdominals, just softly drawing the abdominal wall in towards you. And then from here, just bring the band towards your waist and then feed it through the palms. So we're just sort of holding the band. And again, we're standing, but now I want you to get into your Pilates stance position. So just folding, or rolling rather, the heels together. And imagine you're zipping up a connection from the heels all the way up into the inner thighs and all the way around the back as well through the buttocks. So just sort of squeeze the bum together as if you're trying to get your sit bones drawing in towards each other, and you're really lifted up through your center as well. So it's a really nice connected position. And then check for any tension And just turn down the engagement a smidge if you feel like you're really tightly gripping. And instead, imagine it's like a dimmer switch. You're just turning up the brightness of those inner thighs, buttocks, lower belly. Relax the shoulders. Let's take a lovely deep breath in. And as you breathe out, we're going to open the arms out to the side, just gently feeling that tension in the band. So we're not working against it particularly, but I want you to just notice it and then bring it back through center. And again, open. And then back through center. One more like this, open and back. Good, now leaving the arms in the center. You're going to keep the heels together and rise up onto your toes. And then slowly release the heels down and then open the arms. And back through center. Squeezing through the inner thighs, a little bit of pelvic floor as well as you rise up onto the toes. Slowly lower with control and then open the arms and close. Let's do that 2 more times, rising up onto the toes. Keep those heels working towards each other, the inner thighs, the buttocks working, and then open the arms. And back, last one. And slowly lower and open. Very nice. Let's just release the band, or release the arms rather, just allow the band to kind of soften, let the shoulders relax. Now from here, I want you to take a breath in, and as you breathe out, you're going to rise up onto your toes once more. As you breathe it out, I want you to float the arms back behind you and bring them back in front of you. So you might need to adjust your hand position depending on how you reorientated your wrist and hand holding the band. Then you're going to come down into a little plie. So keeping the heels connected and the heels down on the floor, just bending the knees. Squeeze the legs back together. Let's lift the arms and reach them back behind you. And then rising up onto your toes. And lower. Let's lift up and reach forward. Little plie, coming into the hip, the knee, the ankle joint, then squeeze, bring it back together as you float the arms up and release it back. Last one, rising up onto the toes and lower, lifting the arms, floating them down, and let's bend the knees and lift. Lovely, bring it back into parallel. Release your band to the floor for a moment. Just allow your arms a bit of sense of space where they are without the band connecting them. So let's float the arms forward and up on the in-breath. And then press them down on the out-breath. And if you want to, keeping that connection with your rib cage, let's just softly press the arm back behind you. And lift up and forward. And on the way back, just gently working back through the back of the arms without moving through the spine. 2 more, lift. And press. And last one. And press it back. And let's release the arms down by your side. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, let's roll down. So feeling the back of the neck lengthen, lifting through the top of the spine to roll forward. All the way. Crown of the head soften to the floor. Arms completely soft. So you can even take hold of your elbows if you like, just drawing the shoulder blades softly off the back. Breathe into that space. Releasing the arms down. Let's maybe just sway from side to side a couple of times. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, roll it back up. Sending the tailbone down, rebuilding from the front of your body. So imagine just restacking bone upon bone, like little building blocks. When you reach the top, float your arms up. They don't have to go all the way if you just want to just open them softly to the front. And then as you're rolling, as you're releasing the arms down, let's roll forward again. Breathing in, breathing out, roll it up. As you feel the shoulder blades connect into the back, begin to rise up with the arms. And then this time, as the arms come down, imagine you're diving, so the arms are in line with the head as you roll forward and down. Let's do one more. Breathe in, breathing out. Holding and floating up. And then just take the hands behind the head. Really find the back of your head here. So I want you to use your thumbs to grab or just sort of find that like sort of soft bit at the base of your skull. And give yourself a little massage. So just very gently pressing into that area, maybe all the way around, just sort of the back of the ear area, wherever you feel it's fleshy, where you feel it's not so fleshy, just gently sort of orientate yourself with any areas that might feel tight and tense, very softly padding them with your thumb. And then just allow yourself a nice sense of connecting with the base of your skull. So you're lifting, almost trying to elongate the back of your neck a little bit, and then float the shoulders to the ears, breathing in, and release them down. Let's do that 2 more times, breathing in to lift. And release them down. Last one, breathe in. And then breathe in and just open your elbows wide. So we're not trying to ping them back behind you, but more imagine sending them out to the side. So really imagine you've got sort of wings that you're unfurling and opening, and then just soften and let the elbows come into your peripheral vision again, and then release them out and wide. And then soften. So you should hopefully imagine this movement coming from like a diamond shape in the center of your shoulder blades. And release, last one. And release, then just release your arms down. Let's come into one last roll down. So eyes down, chin down. Let the arms completely soften as you roll yourself all the way down. And then lengthening back up. Bone upon bone. Very nice. We're going to come down onto your back now. So lying yourself down, if you want to, you can sit on your sit bones and roll yourself down. Otherwise, just bring yourself in whichever way feels comfortable onto and into rather your relaxation position. Making sure, if you need it, that you've got a pillow underneath the back of your head. You may not need one, but just make sure that when you're in that relaxation position that you're not poking the chin up to the ceiling. You want it to be level and parallel with the floor and the ceiling. And I want you to, if you want to, you can have the pelvis on top of your ball to begin with, because we're going to do some pelvic clocks. So it can be quite nice, if you want, to trace the ball underneath your bottom. But if you don't have one, if you don't feel like that today, then that's absolutely fine. Whatever position you're in, I want you just to orientate yourself in the way that you did when you were standing. So thinking about where your feet are they in line, the heels in line with your sit bones? Where's your pelvis? Where's your breastbone? Where's the back of your head? So just take a few moments to kind of place those parts of your body, lengthen the space in between them. Try and feel like they're kind of measured in the center of your mat. Feet nice and heavy. And then just gently coming into your pelvic clock. So imagining you've got this clock face on your belly, the pelvis, the pubic bone is 6, the navel is 12, the hip bones 3 and 9. And we're going to roll a marble to 12 to begin with. And then across to 3, down to 6, up to 9, and back up to 12. Let's do it 3 in either direction. So first going clockwise, and it doesn't matter which way is clockwise for you. I know sometimes we kind of visualize in a different way depending on how our brains like to see things. See whether, for me, with pelvic clocks, my ribs always want to get involved, but so it takes me a lot of concentration to try and isolate the movement in the pelvis. So notice what for you is also moving, whether it's your shoulders, your head, your feet, your knees. See if you can try and isolate this movement as much as possible in the pelvis and kind of oil the hip joints. Let's go the other way if you haven't started already, rolling anti-clockwise. Quite nice on the ball to get that sense of feedback for where your pelvis is in space. And then come back through center so you're evenly placed between each part of that clock face, and your marble is directly in the center once more. And let's just let your arms release down by your side. Take a breath in. Let's roll our marble to 12, and this time we're going to carry on rolling. So coming into your spine curl, just nice and smooth, directly up through center, thinking about the rib cage, the pelvis, the hip bones, breathing in, breathing out, wheel the spine down. And let the tailbone lengthen down towards your heels to complete the movement. So often we stay kind of here with the hips kind of still a bit tight, so I want you to let the hips release and soften the tailbone down before you then tuck the tailbone underneath you and wheel yourself up. Breathing in, breathing out, roll it down. Let's do one more like this, just getting used to that fluid movement of the spine before we add any more complicated things. Remember to check your toes. Are they lifting up? Are your feet connected? Are your shoulders heavy? Now on this next one, we're going to come back to that sort of similar movement we've been doing with the arms, coordinating the arm movement with the spine. So let's take a breath in. And as you breathe out, we're going to tuck the tailbone underneath us. And this time, as we roll up through the spine, we're going to pick up the arms as well. The arms are going to get to the ceiling about the same point as the rib cage, or the pubic bone rather, reaches its highest point. And then you're going to send the arms back behind you, but without lowering the pubic bone or lifting in the ribs. So we're going to keep really strong and lengthened through our torso. And then stay here with the arms, breathing in. As you breathe out, roll the spine down. So we're reaching the pubic bone away from your fingertips. And then you're going to fold the arms back up. If you like, you can keep the head down. If you want a little bit more work for the abdominals, as you breathe out, we're going to nod the chin to the chest and press the arms forward. So just looking down towards your pubic bone. And then again, we're going to fold, release the arms back, release the head back. The arms come up as the spine comes up. Pressing down through the feet, lift the bum as you send the arms all the way back. And then roll the spine down. Try not to arch the back, allow it to really unfurl. We're going to press the arms away, keep the head down if you want to. Otherwise, we're going to nod the chin to the chest and curl up. So just looking down towards your pubic bone, drawing in through the belly as you reach the arms forward. And then lower everything back down, the arms come up, the pubic bone lifts. And then release it back. We've got one more like this, rolling the spine down. And then roll up and curling up. And then from here, we're just going to softly release and leave the arms where they are. Just let the shoulders completely soften. In fact, take the palms to face up so you can just really relax through the armpits. And let's bring the feet a little bit wider than hip width. So bring them to mat width. And then just windscreen wipe the legs a couple of times. So we're rolling into the spine. Maybe complete the rotation looking the other way through the neck. To really relax through the neck, particularly if you felt that that curl up was a little bit of a shock to your neck muscles. And back through center. Let's just fold the knees into the chest, hug them in. Circling the ankles is quite a nice thing to do here, just to gently bring your attention to all parts of your body into this stretch. Let's take hold of your left knee, release the right leg away, all the way down to the ground. Relax those shoulders, so keep the shoulders softly releasing back as you bring that left knee in towards you to stretch it out. And then float the right knee in. Let's swap, send the left leg away. Really drop the back of that left leg. Try and open up into the back of the thigh, open into the front of the hip here. Breathe. Now, option to stay head down. We're going to come into our single leg stretch. So there are two levels. You can either simply stay here and keep the leg on the floor and just swap with a slow, slightly more dynamic stretch. Second option, swap but keep the legs high. Third option, we're going to curl up as we swap the legs. So with the placement of the hands, I just want you to gently, you can almost keep them one on top of the other, softly draw one leg in towards you as you send the other leg away and change. If your head is up, you're looking down towards your belly rather than up towards the ceiling. So try and imagine that you're kind of lengthening through the back of the neck, drawing your belly away from your nose. Keep those shoulders away from the ears. Let's do two more. Press that leg away. Keep the lower belly connected so we're not arching the back. Last one. And bring the knees into the chest. Release and roll the head from side to side if you had your head up. Now, take hold of your band once more. Fold your right foot down towards the mat, or place the foot onto the mat, and take your band around your left foot. And just to kind of work out where we are in space, I want you to do your little tuck of the pelvis, lengthen of the pelvis. Just sort of notice what it feels like to have your pelvis in a neutral position and what it feels like to have your back connected into the floor. So if you need and prefer to have your back connected into the floor, do that deliberately and consciously. So almost use your belly muscles to help you get there, rather than just letting the act of drawing your leg in slump the spine. Okay, so it's a different consciousness to it if you allow it to happen or make it happen. So let's find that neutral position. And then from here, just softly lengthen the heel away from your sit bone, trying to find that opening into the back of the leg. It doesn't have to straighten if it feels like it's a strain at all. So try and switch off those quad muscles, these big ones at the front of the leg, if they're over gripping, and instead just soften that knee. We're trying to have a sense of that space between the sit bone and the heel, rather than straightening the leg necessarily. Relaxing those shoulders. Now, if you prefer, remember we crossed the spine, the band over to give you a little bit more control over the band. So if you want to do that, then do. You don't have to if it feels completely fine, not crossed over. So taking a breath in, as you breathe out, I want you to send the heel away, flexing that heel. So it's almost like you're standing on the wall in front of you, and then lift it back up towards the ceiling. And again, long legs, sending it away, and then lift it back up. So keeping the legs straight on the way down and the way up. Let's do three more. And lift. Last two. And lift. Last one. And lift. Relaxing those shoulders. Now, keeping the band nice and stable, you can take it in one hand and relax your other arm out to the side if that feels more stable for you. Otherwise, you can keep it in both hands. We're going to take it out to the side as far as you feel comfortable without tipping the pelvis, and bring it back and out to the side. So grounding through this right foot, the right side of the bum, and bring it back. Let's do three more. Keep the heel pressing away if you can, and bring it back. Last two, and bring it back. Last one. My band's making really funny noise. I don't know if you can hear that. I'm going to take it out of the cross. Now we're going to add those two together. So you're going to send the leg away in front of you. You're then going to open it out to the side and bring it back. And again, send it away. Long, long body. Keep the tummy working here. So we're trying not to move through the spine at all. We're keeping the pelvis lovely and centered and controlled. Last one in this direction. Pause at the top. We're going to change and go out and then across and then up. Out and across and then up. Last one. Across and up. Well done. Just bring that band off the foot for now. Just bringing the knees in towards you. Hug them in. And I want you to lengthen both legs away. And just for a moment, close your eyes, take your hands onto your hips or onto the floor and just gently notice in the body how it feels to have done all of that mobility through that left hip. Notice how it feels in the right hip. Notice how the legs feel different, or maybe they don't. But see how they feel in relation to each other. Does it feel like you really need to do the other leg now and it'd feel weird if you didn't? Or does it feel like actually you're quite balanced? Breathing in. Breathing into both hips, into any sensations in each hip. And then when you're ready, folding that left foot in, placing it down on the mat, taking hold of your band once more. Folding that right foot in. And then we'll just come back to that rocking to begin with. So rocking through the pelvis, noticing how it feels to press into this left foot evenly. Seeing if you can keep the weight distributed evenly on the pelvis as you're moving. So it kind of makes us aware if we have a favourite leg, this kind of activity. If we have one that we always rely on, and the other one sort of just follows behind. And then come to a neutral position of your pelvis. So we're trying to have the pelvis level and grounded, but the lower back in its natural curve. And you want to have the thigh bone dropping into its socket, but without collapsing the spine. Consciously draw the spine into the mat if that's how you feel safer and more supported in this position. And then we're going to grow the leg tall, pressing through the heel and ankle, crossing over the band if you want to, if that feels more controlled and more stable. Let's take a breath in, and as you breathe out, send that leg away, long, long leg, pressing through the heel, and then reach it back up. See if you can imagine going exactly the same line each time. So we're trying not to wobble. It's almost like we're on a train track. Reach, 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 long leg, and then draw it back in. Does it feel different on this side? Does it feel more stable, less stable? Last one. Reach it away and bring it back. And then we're going to go out to the side. So again, you can either have the band in one hand or in both, whichever felt more stable for you. We're going to open it out without tipping in the pelvis. So almost feel like this left hip and left side of your bum is really stable. Bring it back. And again, opening it out. You can deepen the abdominals, open on an out breath if that helps you to do that, and then breathe in to come back. Breathing out to open, pressing that heel away, coming directly in line with the hips. So notice if you're dropping or bring it into the body. Last two. And back. Last one. And back. Now coming into our little circles, or they're kind of triangles, I guess. So we're going to on and out breath. It doesn't really matter about the breath pattern, just whatever you feel works better for you being able to control the movement. Just remember to breathe. Let's send that leg away, away, away. And then bring it out to the side and then back up and across to center. And again, lengthen it away. And out to the side. I've got the wall in the way. And bring it back to center. Let's do one more in this direction. Long leg, working into that hip joint, stabilizing and strengthening the muscles around the hip. Let's pause here and then go the other way. So opening it out. And then swoop it down and glide it up. And again, out, swoop it down, glide it up. Last one, out, swoop it down, glide it up. Well done, guys. Bring the band off the foot, knees into the chest. And then just lengthen your legs away again, back into that sort of long, let's just reach the arms up as well, full body stretch here. Breathe into the ribs, see if you can really open into this space, allow it to be as floaty as it wants to be, and then soften it down. See if you can really draw in through the abdominal muscles to just find that connection, that softness towards the mat. And then float the arms down, hands on the belly, and take a moment just to consider and observe the hips, see how they feel. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Now we're going to come up to sitting. So either I want you to roll onto your side, bring the knees in, rolling onto the side and pressing up, or we're going to take the hands behind the thighs and we're going to give ourselves a little momentum by just pressing into the thighs a couple of times. Press, 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 and then when you're ready, you're going to roll yourself up to sitting. We're going to do, now there's an option here not to do this, so don't worry. We're going to come into a Pilates, so some of you have done your rolling like a ball probably quite a lot. I really love the seal because I think it's a really fun, playful, my hair's all over the place, a playful exercise, which is really great for opening up the hips. And I don't know about you, but when we're sitting down quite a lot, which we can do in lockdown, your hips tend to lose that mobility that we have through the incidental movement of kind of getting on trains and walking around in life. So the seal is an exercise where we take our hands underneath our legs and we bring the ankles towards our hips a little bit, and we bring the soles of the feet together and we clap them like a little seal. We clap 3 times. And from this position, making sure, don't do it until you're ready or you've watched what to do, making sure there's enough mat behind you so that you're not going to bang your head on anything. Do a little hazard warning. We're going to clap, 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 and we're going to roll and come back up and clap, 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 and roll and come back up. Now the clapping isn't just a question of like smacking your feet together, it's really opening and closing your thighs. So it may feel a bit weird and a bit uncomfortable, and if you don't want to do the roll, then don't. If you can opt out entirely on all of it, but it's quite a nice way just of kind of reimagining our movement, because kids do this kind of thing all the time, don't they? And I think that's why Joe Pilates love this exercise. It's kind of this playful getting back into your body in the way that children do. So when you do your roll, remember you're rolling like a ball where we create this C shape of our spine. So I want you to imagine that using your abdominals, you're creating this kind of lovely ship shape that you can naturally roll on. And it's exactly the same with this, even though our legs are in a different position. So just take a moment here, open and close the legs a couple of times. Just clap your thighs, your feet together. It helps to kind of have your elbows in your thighs to help create the movement from there. So let's go clap, 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 roll and balance. Clap, clap, clap. Clap, clap, clap. Just play around with that with a couple of times, see how you feel. You might notice it in the hips, you might notice it a little bit in the shoulders, it might just be a little bit weird and uncomfortable, you don't really want to do it, that's totally fine. But it's quite a nice thing to just explore. And when you've done 1 or 2 or 3 and feel like you've done enough, come into the full body stretch position once more. So you can kind of iron out the hips, let the shoulders relax. See how many, when people are giving up or whether you're starting. I'm giving it a go, guys. I've just been playing around with Seal quite a lot this week and I really, really like it. So let's, from your full body stretch position, fold the knees in one by one, or if you prefer, roll onto your side and back up to sitting. Otherwise, let's roll ourselves up from here once more. And I want you to come into a seated tall position. So if you need and want to, take a pillow underneath your bum or a block if you've got one, anything that gives you a little bit of lift so that you can feel that your spine is as long and straight as possible. So I know I'm wearing kind of a baggy jumper, which doesn't help you see my spinal position particularly, does it? But we're trying to aim for this kind of length rather than this. So if you imagine like a little puppet string kind of lifting you out of your hips a little bit, lengthening the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, it may be quite uncomfortable, in which case soften those knees, give yourself a lift of the sit bones, whatever you need to do. We're going to get our band once more. Try and flex into those heels. So imagine you're really finding that energy out through the back of your leg, placing your legs consciously out in front of you rather than sort of letting them flop. And we're going to take the band shoulder width apart. Relax those shoulders. And I want you to take a breath in and float the arms up towards the ceiling. So just as we did at the beginning. And then as you breathe out, we're going to dive forward and reach. And then you're going to draw the spine back against an imaginary pole and restack and lengthen up. Relax those shoulders, take a breath in. As you breathe out, rolling and diving forward, keeping the belly really lifted, so deeply drawing the lower belly in towards the spine. And then rebuild your spine. If this is too difficult with the arms, by the way, same thing, just you can walk the arms down by your side. So please don't feel that you have to maintain that if it's causing any tension. If you crave a little bit more work for the arms and the butt and the shoulders, the buttocks, not really a buttock work. See my buttocks on my mind. Breathing in, breathing out. Let's do one more, take a breath in. Breathing out to dive forward. And then I want you to place the band around your feet. And roll back up, this time holding on to the sides or the ends of your band. You can bend your knees slightly, particularly if that helps you to sit up a little taller. Whichever position you're in, just make sure that you feel like you're sitting on your sit bones. And again, it is possible to do this without the band. If you're feeling any tension or pressure or you don't have the band with you, we can do exactly the same, just imagining a band. It's exact, the muscles will respond in the same way, so without quite as much load. So let's have the band. Imagine the line that goes from your elbow towards your heel. Your band is just an extension of the arm. So we're going to try not to break that line by pulling at the wrists. We're going to keep always that line from the elbow down towards your ankle, your heel. So taking a breath in. As you breathe out, let's just gently bring the elbows in towards the waist. So working the backs of the shoulders into the tricep muscles, and then release the arms forward. And again, let's bring the elbows in towards you and release. Let's do two more. So imagine lifting up through your pelvic floor and into your lower belly as you bring the arms back in towards you. Last one. And release. Let's add a twist. So on your out breath, you're going to bring the left arm and look over your left shoulder and let the right arm just be soft and relaxed. And then bring it back through center. Breathing out to twist, looking over that right shoulder. Try not to lean back. We're keeping lifted through the spine and back through center, flexing into the heels. Let's do 2 more either side, bending into that left side and come back through center. Bending into the right elbow and back. Relax the shoulders in between each one. Last one, bending into the left arm and back and right and release it down. Let's just release yourself forward, forward, forward. Let the band go. Let's just allow your head and shoulders to completely soften. Breathe in, breathe out. And then rolling yourself up, bone by bone. Now from here, we're going to do one more seated exercise. I know everyone doesn't love seated exercises, but that's kind of why we need to do them. You're going to take your legs a little bit wider, so as wide as you feel comfortable holding them. So that could be really mega wide if your inner thighs fancy a bit more of a stretch, or just sort of wider than than mat width apart, flexing out through the heels. Now we've done rotation with that, we've done lots of arm work. Now we're going to kind of work the two together. So we're going to add a rotation to a flexion and a little bit of arm work. So some of you might have done this exercise before. I'm just going to show you. It can be quite hard work. So as with everything, like we did with the arms, keep the arms low if it feels like that's adding any tension onto your neck. So really listen to your neck and shoulder area, because we've done a lot of shoulder work today. If you feel like it's just a bit too much, keep the arms connected to the ground rather than doing the extra spinny arm work. So we're going to start with the arms out by your side, just sort of into your peripheral vision, as opposed to out and really behind you or in line with the shoulders. So a little bit in. We're taking a breath in, and as you breathe out, you are twisting. So we're going to twist towards the left leg, mirroring you. I'm mirroring you. You're then flexing forward as you soar off your little pinky toe, and you're pressing this back arm back. So we're soaring 1, 2, and then lifting up and rebuilding, relaxing those shoulders. We're going to twist on the in breath, breathe out to fold forward and soar, 2, and lift up and back. Breathing in, twist, breathing out, fold, and press that back arm back. And lift and back through center. Twist. Think about lifting tall rather than sinking or reaching back. We're twisting forward to lift and up. Remember, keeping the arms low if you need to. One more either side. Let's twist and reach forward. Notice if your feet are wandering. If they are, it means your pelvis is shifting. So see if this movement can come from your ribs and your spine rather than from your bottom, wiggling and wobbling. Last one. 2. Lift up and release it down. Let's just bring the soles of the feet together and fold yourself forward, or come into any relaxation position of your choice. So you don't have to come into this butterfly position if it's not nice. Relaxing those shoulders, maybe roll the head from side to side. And then rolling back up, bone by bone. Come into a cross-legged position. Again, if that's not comfortable, adopt a position that you feel more comfortable in. We're going to just do a little bit of shoulder stretching. So make sure you feel comfy, maybe even sit on a chair or a bed if that feels better for you. Let's take the hands onto the shoulders and just bring the elbows together, reach up and spread them wide. Now again, this might feel that it's just a bit much for the shoulder mobility. We've done a lot of shoulder rotation and extension work today, so work within a comfortable range rather than feeling like you're pushing too far. But it might feel like really nice massage for the area. Last one, release the arms down. Let's float one arm up and all the way across. So if you are on the floor, you can rest on that supporting arm And back through center. Windmill the arms, let's come the other way, reach. Breathing in, breathing out. Let's do one more either side. Lift up, up and over. And back, up, up and over. And then coming back through center, let's just take this arm that you've just reached across and find the center of your shoulder blades with the fingertips. That might be enough. It might feel like that's already quite a nice way of checking with your posture, of just softly maybe give yourself, just like we did before with our little massage, maybe give yourself a little bit of a massage in between the shoulder blades. Or you can make it a bit more of a stretch by drawing that elbow a little bit deeper towards your center, but make sure you're not poking the head forward. So we want to really feel like that orientation of your pelvis, your rib cage, isn't affected, so we're not tipping forward here. If you like doing a yogi bind and your shoulder likes that, then do that. My shoulder doesn't love that on this side, so I'm not going to try. Breathe. And then let's go the other way. So just reach and lengthen and soften before you then lift the other arm across. Find the center of the shoulder blades. Give yourself a little massage. And then bringing that elbow a little bit deeper if that gets a nicer stretch into the tricep. Breathe. And release all the way down. Let's take the hands onto the knees and little circles. Just gently massaging through the ribs, the shoulder area, but without any kind of undue stretching. One more in this direction. And if appropriate for you, change the cross of your legs before you then change the direction of your circle. And then coming back through center. Just take a mindful pause for a moment, closing your eyes, focusing in on your breath before we then come into a lovely relaxation position. Stay in this active, lengthened, alert position for a bit longer. Just noticing the rhythm of your breath. See if you can send your breath down towards your pubic bone, down towards your sit bones on the in-breath, and then notice as the exhalation releases through the body, whether you feel that upward movement of the muscles. I want you just to notice it rather than actively engage, unless you want to do some pelvic floor exercises here, but just notice whether on the out breath there is that natural momentum of the sit bones drawing in and up. And as you breathe in, you can feel them softening and widening. 2 more breaths here. And then when you are ready, finding your supportive oasis around you, pillows, cushions, blankets, whatever you need. Finding a really comfy position, whether that might even be lying on your side, hugging a pillow, legs up the wall, whichever position you want. Find it now. Allow the ground to fully support you. So notice your weight kind of spreading and releasing. You know that feeling when, and I'm sure that those of you who haven't held a baby recently will remember this feeling of when a baby, you've been trying to get them to go to sleep, rocking, rocking, rocking. And when they finally release to sleep, how much heavier they are. So I want you to try and imagine that sense of fully letting go, of holding on, and just allow your body weight to be held. Imagine that someone is cradling you and you're fully surrendering that. So take a few moments to get there. It might take a while. It's not a position, it's not a state that we find easily. So allow yourself the next round of breaths. Just softly by degrees, just let go of your body, just allow it to be held by the ground underneath you. Notice whether a body scan will help How are your feet, your ankles, your calf muscles? Relax and let go around the thighs, the hips, the buttocks. Allow your belly to release. Notice if you're holding on to the tummy, see if you can let it go. Allow the waist to soften, the rib cage to expand and release, like bellows just softly opening, softly closing. Let go of the shoulders. Let the arms open and release all the way down to the fingertips. Feel the collarbones widening. Allow your throat to soften. Notice any sensations, any feelings, any thoughts that are coming up. And just allow them to be there. Read them like patterns in the sky. Soften the jaw. And all the way around the cheeks, the ears, the features of your face, around your eye sockets, eyebrows. In between the eyebrows, the centre of the forehead, around your hairline. Try and relax even all around your scalp, the base of the skull, the neck. And then for the last few breaths, you can stay here as long as you want. We're beginning to track just that rhythm of the breath once more. So seeing if you now in this lying down position can allow your breath to descend. In as you breathe in, it comes down, out. As you breathe out, it comes up. The momentum of the breath. Down the body. And then up, kind of like a wave, softly coming into the shore and releasing away. Stay here for as long as you feel comfortable and supported. It's been lovely to see you, and I will see you next week. Good night, everyone.